All right, let's talk about the BC Alberta trade war now. This all started when BC threatened possible limits on bitumen from the Alberta oil sands going through BC. Alberta Premier Rachel Notley didn't like that one bit. She's put a ban on BC wine. Now there's a lot of anticipation. Will BC return fire? Oh boy, this is quite the mess. Let's check in with Chris Varcoe now from the Calgary Herald. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing all right. I'm here in the land with the grapes of wrath as people are all talking about the wine ban involving British Columbia.
The war of the rosés, I've heard it called too.
Absolutely.
It's good to talk. It's good to know that British Columbians and Albertans can have a civilized discussion like this while the politicians are squabbling. In fact, Chris, if you were here right now, I'd suggest we talk it over a bottle of BC wine. I got one right here. This is a nice bottle of Red Rooster made here in BC. This is good stuff. And maybe I could even pair that with a little steak. I got some Alberta beef here. But I wonder if this could be next. Do you think this thing could escalate? Maybe we put a ban on your beef.
Well, I got the feeling that there's going to be more to come here. The mood in Alberta is definitely one of, I would say, anger over the pipeline issue. And I think that we're going to see further moves, further retaliation coming from the Notley government. You know, the Premier of Alberta said yesterday that if they don't get the Kinder Morgan pipeline built, it will cost them $1.5 billion in annual revenues. That's government revenues. $70 million in wine exports or imports is probably nowhere near on the same level, but it certainly is high profile. What's the mood politically in BC towards what's going on?
Well, we just finished a news conference here with Premier John Horgan, and he did not seem like a happy camper at all. I think that the BC government may have underestimated the response from Alberta Premier Rachel Notley, you know, because up until now there's been a lot of saber rattling and letters being written, and I think maybe that's something that the BC government thought that Notley would respond with another letter or something. I don't think they were anticipating a trade war like this, but just to update readers and viewers, John Horgan just said a moment ago that he's not planning to escalate this. So even though there was some speculation about a beef ban, maybe they would ban Alberta beef, he says they're not doing that, at least for now. He's asking Rachel Notley to back down, but I don't think she's going to back down one bit. I wonder, Chris, if this is maybe the best thing that ever happened to Rachel Notley. She seems to be getting a lot of positive reviews in Alberta.
Yeah, I talked to a restaurateur up in Fort McMurray, one of the very first people to call for a ban on BC wines, and she said, I'm a conservative, but I really stand up and support what the Premier Notley is doing here. And I thought that was pretty telling. You know, battles like this obviously, you know, lead to people picking sides. And right now, I think the public mood in Alberta is very clear. Is the same sentiment sort of running in British Columbia, though, or are people really paying attention to this fight?
Oh, I think they're paying attention to it big time ever since the Alberta Premier sort of kicked it up a notch like this. But I think the politics are a little trickier on this side of the border. I mean, in Alberta, it seems like most people are supporting Premier Rachel Notley. Here in BC, there's divided opinion on the pipeline. A lot of people are against it, but a lot of people support it too, and a lot of people really have no opinion either way. So I think that the politics here for Premier John Horgan is a little trickier. I think one of the problems in resolving this thing is that both premiers seem to be out on a limb and not prepared to back down. You talked a little bit about the politics in Alberta. Here in BC, you got this NDP government is in a governing alliance with the Green Party, so Horgan needs to keep them happy. And there are also a lot of very committed environmentalists within the NDP itself here in BC, so Horgan is trying to appease them. He doesn't want to anger them and risk his party falling apart or the governing alliance with the Green Party falling apart. So I think you got a situation where, you know that old Tom Petty song, Don't Back Down? I think both premiers are feeling that way. They don't want to back down. And I wonder if Justin Trudeau might have to step in here.
That is the overwhelming sentiment in the people that I'm talking to among both business leaders. I talked to Ian Anderson today from Kinder Morgan, the president of the organization. Everybody is universally saying that where is the federal leadership on this file? We've had some very nice comments about this pipeline is going to be built by Justin Trudeau and by Natural Resources Minister Jim Carr, but that's just words. People are wondering, where is the action? Are they going to actually demonstrate that they've got the federal authority to regulate pipelines and rail trade of oil that moves across the border, or are they going to allow this issue to be vacated and you know, the BC government to step into the breach? So I think a lot of eyes are on the Prime Minister. Why won't he get more involved and resolve this issue? And I wonder if that's going to happen. What is your sense of where the federal government is?
Well, I think Trudeau's a little nervous about it. He won a lot of seats out here in BC in the last election. There was a bit of Trudeau mania wave through here, and he's worried about the tricky politics of this thing in British Columbia. So I think he's trying to figure it out himself. But I think there'll be more pressure on Trudeau to intervene, especially if Notley takes more action against British Columbia here in the days ahead, which it appears she will. So we'll have to just keep watching it, both of us. I'm glad we're still friends, though.
Hey, we're all members of the New West Partnership, even if it is slightly dysfunctional.
All right, Chris, I'll talk to you later.
Take care.
Okay, bye.